Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 315. I am Brendan. The Ultimate Fighter, season 31. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, episode 12. This is the last episode, so we're going to break this episode down from start to finish. We're going to break down the fight between Cody Gibson and Rico Disciullo, and then we will do a little bit of preview. Maybe we'll go over 292 in here. Not too much time on that, but we'll go through that stuff. So real quick before we get started, if you like this kind of stuff, you like podcasts about MMA, you like MMA in general, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you know the next video is coming out. And then if you go back and look, like if you missed the Ultimate Fighter, you can go back and watch each episode. And if you're looking for a companion piece to talk about the episodes, talk about the breakdowns, I have an episode for every single one of those. I know this is late, but again, I was up and hanging out in Grand Rapids. If you guys are ever up there, there's this place called it's 10th Planet Grand Rapids. It's Scallywag Jiu-Jitsu is what it used to be. It's freaking amazing. The people there are great. Chili, the guy who runs it and owns it, he's fantastic. Everything about that place is awesome. So if you guys are in the area and you're looking for a good gym to stop in, message him before you go, give him a heads up, and go check the place out. It's fantastic. If you're looking for the fight breakdown, timestamps down below, we are going to talk about the episode first. So if you guys remember from earlier in the season, Cody had a messed up knee, so hopefully it didn't affect him in the fight. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping that either Disciullo didn't know about it or that it wouldn't cause an issue during the fight, so he wouldn't be hamstrung by it. Disciullo was he's the only Team McGregor guy left, which is cool for him because he gets one-on-one training with Conor, which, you know, that's not invaluable. Obviously, I'm sure you could pay Conor enough, but that's very valuable time and very valuable information for what it's worth. Chandler was having a crawfish boil. Really cool. Both teams were invited. They are just eating together. I thought that was kind of nice. A little bit to end the season here. Less drama, less stuff, except something we will talk about soon. McGregor took his team out, and they went to Hank's Steakhouse in Vegas. He gave all the guys $1,000 in chips. I don't know if they went and actually played or what was going on with that. Maybe when they're done with the season, they can go back. Cody being injured means that he couldn't do any hard sparring or leg kicking. Cody said that there was one of the things, this was super cool, the way that Cody Gibson talked about it. He said, when you walk in the octagon, there's an invisible sign right above the door, and only the two fighters who walk in there can see it, and it's an exit sign. And he's like, my goal every time I fight is to make that other fighter look for that exit sign, to make him make him want to get out of there. Super cool. I love that philosophy. It sounds badass when you say it like that. It just sounded really cool. And then, so then here's the drama that they had to put in the episode. So Brad Katona, who won his fight, so he's going to the finals, is talking back and forth, and they show a little dust up that they have. Him and Cody go back and forth. Cody saying that Brad is self-centered and he's a diva, and saying that nobody likes him. He's like, there's 20 people in this house, and there's a reason why 19 of them don't like you. You know what I mean? And Brad has this attitude where I don't know. I think they play it up a little bit more, and they've created this. Maybe they didn't have to work that hard to make him look self-centered, but I'm sure that they pick and chose moments to make Brad Katona look worse during the season so that this kind of stuff makes sense, because the editors have all this information, so they know what's going to happen ahead of time, so they can tell a story based off of all of the clips and all the information that they have. And I'm sure that's what they did here. And part of this kind of ruined the episode for me, because why would they be showing this if Cody Gibson wasn't going to win the fight? Because Cody Gibson wins, then they fight in the finals. So it kind of, it tipped their hand. I figured that, I'm like, oh, okay, so Cody probably wins this. So the editors kind of tipped their hand here. It kind of killed the surprise for me. I was like, the way that they're playing up this rivalry between Cody and Brad makes me think Cody wins this fight. So I kind of figured Gibson was going to win. Speaking of Gibson winning, let's talk about the fight here, huh? Cody Gibson versus Rico Disciullo. Rico wanted to go in there with low kicks. He wanted to stand and bang. He wanted to strike with him. He wanted to stay on the outside. But his leg kicks weren't that strong, and he landed. The second one was a little bit better. Then Rico stumbles on a strike. He moves in and slips, and he trips over his own foot. Like, when he steps with his right foot, it kind of gets caught on the mat, and he trips. Cody takes advantage of it, gets the back control, gets down, gets the body triangle on him, and then he stays in control the whole time, floating on top, getting the back again. Cody's on top, laying down elbows and punches nonstop. Rico gets out, but ends up on the bottom yet again and gets mounted. And this time, Cody able to get the arm triangle and get the finish. It was, that was not even close. Not even close. Rico wanted to go for Cody's messed up knee, but still gets dominated. I understand that when you're in the situation, you want to go for whatever advantage you can. So I wouldn't hold that against him. But part of me doesn't like that. The purist in me is thinking, if the guy's knee is messed up and you're just kicking, because that's the thing is he was kicking at the knee. He wasn't even going for like low calf kicks or meaty thigh kicks. He was going right behind the knee, looking to hit that damaged knee. So I don't know. It kind of bummed me. It bums me out when I see that, but I totally understand it. This is not like an indictment on him as a person. You got to do what you got to do to win. If the other thing is like, if during the fight, if you mess up your opponent's left eye, that it's going to be harder for them to see hooks coming, because once it goes outside and that hook comes outside of the periphery of the right eye, normally where your left eye. So for me, it would be like right there. So once you hook outside here, I can't see that punch coming anymore. And it opens you up for damage. Bisping had that issue, obviously, because he was blind in one eye. And GSP took advantage of it. So, last episode felt like it was kind of just pushing its way through the finish. The drama that they played up kind of tipped their hand. The fact that they, hung out, it seemed like they were just trying to find anything on the cutting room floor. Like, do we got anything that shows them being a team? I don't know, man. Dude, go look at the clips. I don't know. They're just like digging through. I know that they don't do that anymore. It's not real film. It's digital. So they're just scrolling through footage. Like, I don't know, man. They had a crawfish boil at some point. Shit, put it in. It's like, hey, they went out to a steakhouse. Put it in. What else do we got? I don't know. Man, Cody's got a messed up knee. We could put shots of him walking. All right, put it in. Anything they could. Overall, this season, if I had to rate the season out of 10, right? First of all, I would never go back and watch this season again. Okay, there was no moment in this season that makes me want to watch it. I would never rewatch any of the fights this season. That's not necessarily, it's not a glowing review, obviously, but it's also not an indictment on the season itself. Like, I kind of figured this was how it was going to go, so it didn't surprise me. Was I entertained throughout the whole season? From my expectations, yes. If you go into Ultimate Fighter, which I haven't watched one since Ultimate Fighter 19, if you go into the Ultimate Fighter expecting fireworks and excitement, 45 minutes, week in, week out, you're going to be disappointed. You are. If you go into the Ultimate Fighter thinking you're going to see a little bit behind the scenes, you're going to see some stuff, and they're going to show interviews, and it's going to be kind of a slow pace, and then, the last third of the episode is going to be a fight. You know what to expect, and you might be delightfully surprised. It might meet your expectations, or it might slightly miss the mark. So for me, it was a fine season. I was entertained. 6 or 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, I'd give it. And that's because I don't think that's a bad score for something. I think for the Ultimate Fighter, this is what it is. So going forward, I might cover more of Dana White Contender Series. Maybe. I'm going on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I will. I might be recording. We will see how that goes. Oh yeah. Also, the McGregor and Chandler faced off again. Boy, doesn't that feel real disingenuous when you kind of know what's happening now? You're like, are they really going to fight? Probably not. It's kind of disappointing. I want to see them fight. I think it'd be a blast. Okay, let us go over UFC 292 breakdown. Let's just do a little breakdown here. Put a timestamp in here for you guys. All right, UFC 292 breakdown. Okie dokes. So we got Sterling versus O'Malley is going to be your main event. I normally don't do this. Okay, so bear with me if you guys are just here for the Ultimate Fighter. I bid you adieu. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. We're just going to go over the card that the Ultimate Fighter finishes on. Right, we're going to talk about those fights when we get down to them. Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. If this goes to the ground, Aljamain Sterling, he is not a defenseless wrestler. He is not a guy who's just offense, and when he gets to the ground, he's just, punches. The guy is a wizard at getting your back. He's really good at putting pressure on you. His striking, if you go just pure striking, who has the advantage here? Sean O'Malley does, right? His abilities, the way he mixes things up, his distance management, all of that stuff, his ability to hurt you on the feet. I think he has more ways to hurt Aljamain Sterling on the feet. That being said, I think Aljamain Sterling is good enough on the feet to work his way in for a takedown, especially over 5 rounds. If I had to put the way I rate fights, or if I figure out ahead of time, I'd say this is probably 8 out of 10, right? 8 out of 10 times, Aljamain Sterling is going to win this one, right? Maybe even higher than that. He's a pretty big favorite here at minus 258. I don't do betting advice. I don't do betting on sports, so there's plenty of other channels if you want that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about the fight itself, and I think Aljamain Sterling has a really good chance of beating him here. Sean O'Malley could surprise. He could pull up a triangle from the back. He could hit a roll and go for a leg. He can tag Sterling on the feet and keep his distance really well. There's plenty of ways for Sean O'Malley to win. I just think Aljamain Sterling has plenty of offense and sound defense in all the positions to get O'Malley to where he wants to go. So I think Sterling's probably going to come away with this one. Weili Zhang versus Amanda Lemos. Lemos hits hard, and she could always catch Zhang. But I just don't see that one. I don't know how. Zhang is so well rounded. Unless she overwhelms her with strength and gets her to the ground, maybe. I just don't. In my head, I don't see a way Lemos comes away with the win there. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary. Okay, this one there was the dust up at the press conference where Neil Magny says, I've got children, so I've got experience beating kids' asses. This is what I'm going to do to Gary. And then everybody, they're in a huge argument about, I don't think Neil Magny is talking about straight up hauling out and beating the shit out of your kids. I think he means spankings and stuff and corporal punishment, but within reason. I don't know. Who cares? But within reason, and then people are posting oh, I hit my kids, and people how dare you? Both of those takes are kind of weird to me. You wouldn't smack your kid's hand if they reached for the flames. They reached for the hot burner on the stove. You wouldn't smack your kid's hand away. I've explained this before. You're giving them the sensation of pain so that they associate that action with pain without causing serious harm, letting them burn the shit out of their hand. Right? So they're still getting the same reaction, and God, you're still giving them the same, you're blah, 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 putting it to memory. There's a better word for it, and I just can't think of it right now. I don't know what's wrong with me, but you're still putting it in their memory, and you're giving them that reaction of pain when they go to do something that's going to hurt them without seriously damaging them. It's the same reason why you'd smack their hand if they're playing around with the outlets, or you smack their butt when they're climbing up on a wall, right? That they could fall off of. Anything one of those things. Obviously you're not trying to do real physical harm to the child. What you're trying to do is create this memory of this action causes me pain. I shouldn't do this. Especially when they're younger and they can't communicate very well, and no matter what you tell them, they're just not going to listen. As they get older, I think physical punishment gets far less effective. There's studies out there, showing that it causes real issues. And I believe that. That makes sense to me. So I'm not going to tell people how to parent their kids. I think there are plenty of ways within reason to discipline your children with no physical contact and with minimal physical contact, even maybe a hard smack on the butt every so often. I think that there are plenty of ways to do it. You know, I didn't subscribe to any single one of those. I kind of took it as things come along and how the each child reacts, because they each react differently. And no two kids are the same. But this has blown up, and of course, it's MMA Twitter. It's MMA, so everybody, like, they take a hard stance, like, I hit my kids. I'll hit my kids. Oh, I can't believe you hit your kids. Oh. Guys, it must be this. This shows you it must be a real slow news week when this shit happens. It happens so much too. Damon Blackshear coming off of that twister from last week, looking to get 2 wins in 7 days, which would be fantastic against Mario Bautista. He's coming in as the underdog. I'll probably be rooting for him because he's landed a twister, so it'd be badass for him to hit something like that. It'd be fun. Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munoz. Munoz is hittable, and Marlon Vera can find it. So this is a 3-round fight, which favors... Man, that's a close one. It could favor Munoz because his volume tends to be higher. But Vera only needs like 2 shots in a round to really swing it. I mean, look what happened when he fought Rob Font. My gut tells me Munoz, but I'm like, I wouldn't bet. It's like a 60-40 fight for me. And here we go for the prelim. So Chris Weidman is versus Brad Tavares. All I want is a good fight. I don't want Chris Weidman to look like he's 100 years old. I don't want any injuries. I want Brad Tavares. I know Brad Tavares is really good, so I cannot care. I don't care. I just want them to have a good fight. Gregory Rodriguez versus Dennis Tiuliulin. That'll be fun. Rodriguez, RoboCop here. He just nonstop forward pressure. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't remember too much about Dennis. I'd have to go back and watch his stuff. It's nothing about his fights is standing out to me. So then you got Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holobaugh. Hubbard's a really good grappler. I think he's got a really well-rounded game. I think as a fighter, he tends to be better than Kurt. I think Kurt is a more basic fighter. I think Hubbard has more abilities. And given that both of them have good cardio and decent grappling, and I think Hubbard could pull this one out. And Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson. You know, it probably is going to be a grapple fest with Katona if he gets his way, and then Gibson is going to he'll grapple with you too, but if he gets in dominant positions, he'll lay out some damage. Andrea Lee, why is she fighting on the early prelims? Marina Moroz, first fight of the night, Andrew Petrosky. So then Gerald Mearshart. I mean, I think this card's worth watching. It's a little lackluster outside of the main event here. Obviously, Weili Zhang is fantastic. Like, I'll watch her fight anytime. I love Neil Magny. Ian Gary's been real fun to watch. Damon Blackshear. So it's a good card for more hardcore fans, I think. I don't think the casuals are going to be too into this one. But that's it. That's for my version of a breakdown. I don't do those anymore. I don't really do fight breakdowns. I don't think I'm particularly good at it. Like the advance ahead of time, I don't think I do. Fight predictions would be the way to say it. I'm not very good at fight predictions. Even if I'm right in my head about it, the way I articulate it and the skill breakdown that I have, I don't think I have the knowledge to do a really good job of that. So I don't think I'm providing any value in that arena. But thank you guys so much for stopping by. I appreciate y'all. I know this was late. I know it. Sorry, but we'll break down 292, and we'll break down PFL this weekend too. So we'll talk about that this weekend. Subscribe to the channel so you know when those videos are coming out. Appreciate y'all. Love you. Peace.